Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shri Shukha Uvacha Atmamayam Hriday Rajan Parashyanu Pavatmanaha Nagate Tata Sambandaha Swapna Drishtu Ivanjasa.
Hare Krishna. Translation. Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, O king, unless one is influenced by the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there is no meaning to the relationship of the pure soul in pure consciousness with the material body. That relationship is just like a dreamer seeing his own body working.
Text 2. Bahurupa ivavati mayaya bahurupaya ramamano guneshvasya mamaham iti manyate.
The illusioned living entity appears in so many forms offered by the external energy of the Lord. While enjoying in the modes of material nature, the engaged living entity misconceives, thinking in terms of I and mine.
Text 3. Yahivava mahimni swe parasmin kala mayayohu rameta gata sammohahas tyatvodaste tadopayam.
As soon as the living entity becomes situated in his constitutional glory and begins to enjoy the transcendence beyond time and material energy, he at once gives up the two misconceptions of life, I and mine, and thus becomes fully manifested as the pure self.
Text 4. Atma tattva vishuddhyatam yathaha bhagavanritam brahmane dashayan rupam avyalika vratatavritah.
O King, the personality of Godhead, being very much pleased with Lord Brahma because of his non-deceptive penance in Bhakti Yoga, presented his eternal and transcendental form before Brahma, and that is the objective goal for purifying the conditioned soul.
Sa adidevo jagatam paro guruhu swadishnayam astaya shishikshayashata tamnadya gachadrisham atra sammatam prapancha nirmana vidiryaya bhave.
Lord Brahma, the first spiritual master, supreme in the universe, could not trace out the source of his lotus seat, and while thinking of creating the material world, he could not understand the proper direction for such creative work, nor could he find out the process for such creation.
Text 6. Shashintayan Dvakshacharam ekadambasi upashrinodvir katitam vacho vibhuh sprasheshu yat shodasham ekavimsham nishkinchananam ripayattanam viduh.
While thus engaged in thinking in the water, Brahmaji heard twice from nearby two syllables joined together. One of the syllables was taken from the 16th and the other from the 21st of the Sparsha alphabets, and both joined to become the wealth of the renounced order of life.
Text 7. निशम्य तद्वक्त् ऋदृक्षया दिशो विलोक्य तत्रा नियत् अपाश्यमानः स्वदिष्णयम् आस्ताय विमृश्य तदित्तं तपस्य उपादिष्ट इवादते मनः.
When he heard the sound, he tried to find the speaker, searching on all sides. But when he was unable to find anyone besides himself, he thought it wise to sit down on his lotus seat firmly and give his attention to the execution of penance as he was instructed.
Text 8. Divyam sahasrabdam amogadashano Ritanilatma vijito bhayendriyah atapyatha smakila lokathapanam tapastapiyam tapatam samahitah.
Lord Brahma underwent penances for 1,000 years by the calculations of the demigods. He heard this transcendental vibration from the sky and he accepted it as divine. Thus he controlled his mind and senses, and the penances he executed were a great lesson for the living entities. Thus he is known as the greatest of all ascetics.
Text 9. Tasmai Svalokam Bhagavan Sabhajitah Sandashayam Asa Param Nayat Param Vyapata Sanklesha Vimoha Sattvasam Swadrishtavatpihir Purusaira Bishtutam.
The personality of Godhead, being thus very much satisfied with the penance of Lord Brahma, was pleased to manifest his personal abode, Vaikuntha, the supreme planet above all others. This transcendental abode of the Lord is adored by all self-realized persons, freed from all kinds of miseries and fear of illusory existence.
Text 10. प्रवर्तते यत्र रजस्तमस्तयोः सत्त्वं शमिश्रं न च कालविक्रमः न यत्र माया किमुता परे हरेरे अनुव्रता यत्र सुरासुराश्रिताः.
In that personal abode of the Lord, the material modes of ignorance and passion do not prevail, nor is there any of their influence in goodness. There is no predominance of the influence of time. So, what to speak of the illusory external energy? It cannot enter that region. Without discrimination, both the demigods and the demons worship the Lord as devotees.
Text 11. Shyamavatata Shatapatra Pishankavashtra Shurashashupeshasah Sarveshatu Bhavaha Unmisanmani Pravekanishka Parana Shuvachasah.
The inhabitants of the Vaikuntha planets are described as having a glowing sky bluish complexion. Their eyes resemble lotus flowers, their dress is of yellowish color, and their bodily features very attractive. They are just the age of growing youths. They all have 4 hands. They are all nicely decorated with pearl necklaces, with ornamental medallions, and they all appear to be effulgent.
Text 12. Pravala Vaidurya Mrinala Vachasah Parishpurat Kundala Mauli Malinaha.
Some of them are effulgent like coral and diamonds in complexion and have garlands on their heads, blooming like lotus flowers, and some wear earrings.
Text 13. Rajisnubeya Parito Virajate Lasat Vimana Valibir Mahatmanam Vidyotamana Pramatotamadhyubihi Savidyut Abra Valibir Yatanabaha.
The Vaikuntha planets are also surrounded by various airplanes, all glowing and brilliantly situated. These airplanes belong to the great Mahatmas or devotees of the Lord. The ladies are as beautiful as lightning because of their celestial complexions, and all these combined together appear just like the sky decorated with both clouds and lightning.
Text 14. Shri Yatra Rupini Urugaya Padayoho Karoti Manam Bahuda Vibhuti Priyankam Shritaya Kusumakaranugair Vijayamana Priyakarma Gayati.
The goddess of fortune, in her transcendental form, is engaged in the loving service of the Lord's lotus feet, and being moved by the black bees, followers of spring, she is not only engaged in variegated pleasure, service to the Lord, along with her constant companions, but is also engaged in singing the glories of the Lord's activities.
Text 15. Dadashatatra Kila Sattvatam Patim Shriyapatim Yagnapatim Jagatpatim Sunandananda Prabalahanadibihi Swapashadaprahi Harishehitam Vibhum.
Lord Brahma saw in the Vaikuntha planets the personality of Godhead, who is the Lord of the entire devotee community, the Lord of the goddess of fortune, the Lord of all sacrifices, and the Lord of the universe, and who is served by the foremost servitors like Nanda, Sunanda, Prabala, and Arhana, his immediate associates.
Text 16. Bhritya prasada bimukam drupasavam prasannahasa brunalochananam kiritinam kundalinam chadurbujam pitam shukam vakshasi lakshitam shriya.
The personality of Godhead, seen leaning favorably towards his loving servitors, his very sight intoxicating and attractive, appeared to be very much satisfied. He had a smiling face decorated with an enchanting reddish hue. He was dressed in yellow robes and wore earrings and a helmet on his head. He had 4 hands, and his chest was marked with the lines of the goddess of fortune.
Text 17. Atyarhaniyasanam asitam param vritam chatusrodasha panjashaktibihi yuktam bhage svairitha ratra chaduraivahi sa eva daman ramamanam ishwaram.
The Lord was seated on his throne and was surrounded by different energies like the 4, the 16, the 5, and the 6 natural opulences, along with other insignificant energies of the temporary character. But he was the factual Supreme Lord, enjoying his own abode.
Text 18. तद्दर्शनालाद हरिप्लुतान्तरो कृष्यत्तनुः प्रेम वराश्रुलोचनः ननाम पादाम्बुजम् अस्य विश्वसृग् यत्पादमहं स्वेन हतादिगम्यते.
Lord Brahma, thus seeing the personality of Godhead in his fullness, was overwhelmed with joy within his heart, and thus in full transcendental love and ecstasy, his eyes filled with tears of love, he thus bowed down before the Lord. That is the way of the highest perfection for the living being, Parahamsa.
Text 19. सम्प्रियामाणं समुपस्थितं कविं प्रजाविसर्गे निजशासनार्हणं बभाष ईषत् स्मितशोषिषा गिरा प्रियप्रियं प्रीतमानकरे स्पृशन्.
And seeing Brahma present before him, the Lord accepted him as worthy to create living beings, to be controlled as he desired, and thus being much satisfied with him, the Lord shook hands with Brahma and slightly smiling addressed him thus.
Text 20. Shri Bhagavan Tayaham Toshita Samyago Vedagarbha Shrikshaya Shiram Pritena Tapasa Dushto Sakuta Yohinam.
The beautiful personality of Godhead addressed Lord Brahma. O Brahma, impregnated with the Vedas, I am very much pleased with your long accumulated penance with a desire for creation. Hardly am I pleased with the pseudo mystics.
Text 21. Varam Varaya Patram Te Parishaya Sham Ma Bivanchitam Brahman Shreya Parishramaha Pumsamadashanavatihi.
I wish you good luck. O Brahma, you may ask from me, the giver of all benedictions, all that you may desire. You may know that the ultimate benediction, as the result of all penances, is to see me by realization.
Text 22. Manisitanubhavoyam mama lokavalokanam yadupashrutya rahase shakata paramam tapaha.
The highest perfectional ingenuity is the personal perception of my abodes, and this has been possible because of your submissive attitude in the performance of severe penance according to my order.
Text 23. Pratyadishtam maya tatra tvayi karma vimohite tapome hridayam shakshat atmaham tapaso naga.
O sinless Brahma, you may know from me that it was I who first ordered you to undergo penance when you were perplexed in your duty. Such penance is in my heart and soul, and therefore penance and I are non-different. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna, thank you so much, Mataji. Very nice recitation and reading. Sorry, I joined a bit late. Okay, share my screens. 8:05. So we will have a discussion on verse number 17, 18, and 19. And at 8:40, there will be a bhajan. Chant some prayers now. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashcha Prayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhagavati Naishtaki. Hey, thank you so much. So, verse number 17. Adhyarhaniyasanam astitam param Vritam Chatushodasha Panchashaktivi Yuktam Bhage Svairitaratra Chadhrave Svaeva Dhamam Namamanam Ishwaram. Word for word. Adhyarhaniya, greatly worshipable. Asanam, throne. Asthitam, seated on it. Param, the supreme. Ritam, surrounded by. Chatuhu, four, namely Prakriti, Purusha, Mahat, and Ego. Shodasha, the 16, Pancha, the 5, Shakti Bhi, by the energies, Yuktam, empowered with, Bhagai, his opulence, Swahe, personal, Itaratra, other minor prowesses, Cha, also, Adhruvahe, temporary, Sway, own, Eva, certainly, Dhaman, abode, Ramamanam, enjoying, Ishwaram, the Supreme Lord. Translation and purpose Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. The Lord was seated on his throne and was surrounded by different energies like the 4, the 16, the 5, and the 6 natural opulences, along with other insignificant energies of the temporary character. But he was the factual Supreme Lord enjoying his own abode. It's very interesting. This is the description of the spiritual abode, and there is also a talk about insignificant energy of temporary character. You would have thought everything in the spiritual world is always permanent, but it's full of varieties, it seems. Purport. The Lord is naturally endowed with his 6 opulences. Specifically, he is the richest, he is the most powerful, he is the most famous, he is the most beautiful, he is the greatest in knowledge, and he is the greatest renouncer as well. Still, I was thinking maybe because there are 3 verses to discuss, I'll just quickly chant Pranam Mantra, Mangalacharan, and then we will discuss as we go along. Om Jnanativiram Darsha, Jnananjana Shalakaya, Chakshuramilam Yena, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam, Sthapitam Yena Bhutale, Swayam Rupa Tadamaya, Dadati Swapadantikam, Vandeham Shri Guru, Shri Uttapatakamanam, Shri Guru Vaishnavam, Makam Karoti Vachalam, Pangam Nagayate Girit, Yathripatam, Shri Guru Devatam, Nama Om Vishnupadaya, Krishna Vastaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani, Namaste Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Pacharane, Nirvishesha Sundevadi, Paschata Deshidane, Anchakri Patruvesha, Kripasindhu Devacha, Patitana Bhavanadir, Vaishnava Deva, Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Shiva Hari Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay. So this is very interesting how Prabhupada starts with so much clarity, and this is so important, and we are so fortunate to receive this. So in general, people's understanding of God is what? I mean, nobody or in no other scriptures outside of the Vedic scriptures that you hear the clear definition of God. So yes, Krishna is God, but how is Krishna God? This is what we learn. So someone asks, like, anyone outside they say, yes, God is great and almighty, but that's all. But it does not clearly define like how he is God. When he must have all the opulences to become God. Someone who has these opulences in full, he is the God, not anyone else. They say 6 opulences. Yeah, he's the richest. How is the richest? Because he owns everything. Everything created is in the material world, it belongs to him. Also, the spiritual world belongs to him. He is the most powerful. There cannot be anyone more powerful than the Lord himself. The most famous, most beautiful, and the greatest of knowledge and greatest renouncer as well. As we will read further on, Krishna says to Brahmaji that he's also performing austerities. He's also a renouncer. He's the greatest enjoyer, at the same time he's the greatest renouncer as well. But these are the 6 opulences that defines him, which is so amazing. Like anyone asks us, what is your understanding of God? Then we know exactly what is the understanding of God. It's not just random something very powerful, some light or other nature, many people have various understanding of God. But this really helps us understanding why Krishna is God. Krishna, by word, it means like all attractive. And we know that anyone who has little bit of rich or some rich people, like they become attractive because people get attracted. The people want to have relationship with them. They want to connect with those rich people. Similarly, powerful, everyone gets attracted to people with power. Everyone want to hang around with people with power. But he's the most powerful. Similarly, the most famous and most beautiful, like everyone gets attracted to beauty, but he is the most beautiful. The Madan Mohan is the attractor of the Cupid as well. And he's greatest in knowledge. We also see that we experience that sometimes, some people or some devotees have so much knowledge and they attract, people get attracted to them. So now Krishna is the greatest in knowledge. So how attractive will be? So all these qualities, all these opulences Krishna has, that's why he's the most attractive. And we all get attracted by his beauty always. And for his material creative energies, is served by. Now again, this is so clear. This is the power of Vedic scriptures. You cannot get this anywhere else. Like so specific, like even in counting numbers, what those 4 things are, what those 6 opulences are, what the 16 energies are. It's so powerful, this whole chapter. If because someone may have a very logical brain or very analytical brain, so it satisfies everyone. So served by 4, so his material creative energies, and for his material creative energies, he's served by 4: Prakriti, Purusha, Bhat Tattva, and ego. Everything on the whole material creation is these 4. And he's also served by the 16, namely the 5 elements. I mean, how do we understand the service here? He's surrounded by energies. How can someone be surrounded by energies? Anyone thought? Any thoughts? That's a very small presence today, 16 only. Are we surrounded by any energies? Can we define that? Like, can anyone say that I am also surrounded by energies? Anyone would like to share? It's fine, whatever it is, right? It doesn't matter. We're all trying to do our best. Is it? I think that, okay. So I'll share my thoughts. This is because in spiritual world, it's all personalities. All these are personalities. Yeah, so the 5 elements, these energies are 5 elements. There are the 5 elements of earth, water, air, fire. Because their manifestation in the material world is what we can see. But they are in the unmanifested world. In the spiritual world, they are in the original form, all these energies. And the 5 perceptive sense organs. It's amazing to understand this. the eye, ear, nose, tongue, and skin. They're all serving. They're all surrounding the Lord. And the 5 working sense organs, the hand, the leg, stomach, we all know this. All these 26 elements. The 5 include the sense objects, namely form, taste, smell, sound, and touch. And some devotees also sharing this is how all these energies belong to the Lord. It is for his enjoyment. But he also shares, he's very sharing. So he shares all these energies with us as well in the material world to enjoy. Right? So he's quite loving in that sense. Everything belongs to him, but he shares all his energies for us as well. Because although in theory we are like the ones who turned away from the Lord, and we are trying to enjoy away from the Lord. So the Lord is still offering, okay, you want to enjoy, but I'll still give you these, although you will never be happy with this as well. So all these 25 items serve the Lord in the material creation. And all of them are personally present to serve the Lord. Again, personally present to serve the Lord. It's not, again, the Lord is not impersonal. That's another point that our philosophy makes. How Lord is personal and how all the energies that Lord enjoys with are also personal. Our philosophy is so personal. And the insignificant opulences, like this is interesting. What is that we spoke about? What's the temporary insignificant? The insignificant opulences numbering 8, the Ashtasiddhis. The 8 siddhis, all the yogis, and they can become the smallest to smaller, biggest to biggest, and like many things like that. They walk siddhi, they can convince anyone with anything. Like I can't remember all of them, but yeah. But they are insignificant. Because why they're insignificant? Because even a yogi can get that, but obviously the yogis can only get by the mercy of the Lord. Nobody else can give that. Only Lord can give these siddhis to the yogis. The yogis want that they perform lots of tapasya. They want to get this, something from the Lord. Mukti siddhi kami sakali ashant. This is what one of the verse, very beautiful verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita says. Sakali bhukti mukti siddhi kami. There are 4 categories. Those who are enjoyers, or bhukti, or mukti, or those who are in the desirous of the liberation, or siddhi, or those who want all these siddhis, and kamis who want to enjoy in the material world, perform yajna, this and that, to enjoy more and more. And Mahatma says, sakali ashant means they're always completely ashant, means they're never peaceful. So all these material energies, all these, sense of enjoyment, mentality of enjoyment, doesn't give any happiness. They're always unhappy. Krishna Bhakta is always Nishkam Atayeva Shanta. Because he does not have any desire, any of these 4 desires. That's why Krishna's devotees are always shant, they're always peaceful, always happy. They're in the mood of serving the Lord because the energies are meant for the Lord's enjoyment. That's how devotee understand. This is so beautiful. So the insignificant opulence numbering 8 are also under his control, but he is naturally full with all such powers without any effort. And therefore he is the Supreme Lord. He does not have to put any effort to get these. Like yogis have to put effort, perform meditation, tapasya, asanas, all the austerities. He does not have to do all that to get these opulences. The living being, by severe penance and performance of bodily exercises, can temporarily attain some wonderful power. But that does not make him the Supreme Lord. Okay, so the concept here of insignificant energy of temporary character is in relationship to the material world. Even if someone has received these siddhis, that also go away because the body itself is temporary. Even though with severe penances, austerities, bodily asanas, they attain this power, but that does not make them Supreme Lord because they lose it. The Supreme Lord, by his own potency, is unlimitedly more powerful than any yogi. He is unlimitedly more learned than any Jnani. He is unlimitedly richer than any wealthy person. He is unlimitedly more beautiful than any beautiful living being. And he is unlimitedly more charitable than any philanthropist. He is above all. No one is equal to or greater than him. How clearly Prabhupada defines all this. So if someone thinks that yogis are powerful, they got siddhis, or these jnanis have lots of knowledge, but he's unlimited of all these. Nor can anyone reach his level of perfection in any of the above powers by any amount of penance or yogic demonstrations. That clarifies someone, if you, a lot of people get some of these opulences and they become God for a lot. But they cannot be God because they only have it for limited time and they don't have it in full. It's the Supreme Lord who has it in full, and that's why his level of perfection is above any one of the other yogis. Yogis are dependent on his mercy. Again, I was saying before, yogis cannot get that independently. It has to be given as a gift. So yogis also do some bhakti to get something from the Lord. Out of his immensely charitable disposition, he can award some temporary powers to the yogis because of the yogis hankering after them. But to his unalloyed devotees who do not want anything from the Lord, save and accept his transcendental service, the Lord is so pleased that he gives himself in exchange for unalloyed service. This is the most wonderful gift devotees get. The Lord gives, because the Lord, devotees have no desire. The Lord says, I have become yours then. Yeah. The devotee becomes the Lord's and Lord becomes the devotees. This is the loving exchange between the devotees. This is the description of all the opulence of the spiritual world and the opulence of the Lord. And in these 3 verses we are discussing, I'm just going through. So there's like a transition from Lord Brahma seeing all the beauty of the Supreme Lord's abode. And I was going through the 13 to 17 is what, as we were hearing also, I'm not going to read all that translation as we've been hearing that. The beauty and activities of the Lord is described, and also Mother Lakshmi and other residents, how they're going in the plane, they have the stunning beauty, all the the Lakshmi. Also very famous was that we chant every day. Would anyone like to chant this? And everyone very quiet. You can chant this. Sorry if you're not in front of your phone or something. No one?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Please.
I cannot do the Sanskrit one.
Okay,
I can do the sorry.
anyone else can do? This is something we chant every day in the temple room.
Yeah, Prabhu, I think I can.
Please.
Is somebody chanting? Otherwise, I can do it.
I can do it.
Hare Krishna.
Krisangi Mataji, please go ahead.
Okay. Chintamani Prakrisatmasu Kalpa Vruksha Lakshyavateshu Surbi Avipalyantam Lakshmishwar Satsambram Sevyamanam Govindam Hadipurusham Tamam Bhajami.
Thank you so much. Chintamani Prakara Sadma Sukalpa Vriksha. So, what does it say? Every day we hear this. I worship Lord Govinda, the primeval Lord, the first progenitor, who is tending the cows. What is Lord doing in the spiritual world? He's tending the cows, it says. Yielding all desires in abodes built with, how's the abode built? With spiritual gems. And surrounded by millions of purpose trees. Millions of purpose trees means the Kalpavriksha trees. always served with great reverence and affection by hundreds and thousands of Lakshmis or gopis. Lakshmi Sahasra Sata Sambrama Sevyamanam. Is being served. So Brahma Samhita is all the detailed explanation of how the Lord is being served. And obviously here we are hearing not only the abode, but also the Lord's associates names as well. We were reading before. The Bhagavatam gives all the information like no other scripture in other religion. They don't have the knowledge of this depth, exactly what is going on in the spiritual world. It's like in the beginning live show here. And who are the associates of the Lord? What is their names? So all the information exactly put in here in Bhagavatam. And this is the beauty, Srimad Bhagavatam. And then the verse number 18. Translation on the short of time. Lord Brahma, thus seeing the personality of Godhead in his fullness. So until verse number 17, Lord Brahma has described the beauty of the abode, the Lord's associate and Lord himself. And now he's going to the next section where he's moving from, 17, 18, this is the 18 is Brahma's joy and ecstasy is described here. After this again says Lord Brahma, thus seeing the personality of God in his fullness, was overwhelmed with joy within his heart, and thus in full transcendental love and ecstasy, his eyes filled with tears of love. And he thus bowed down before the Lord. That is the way of the highest perfection for the living being, Paramahamsa. Would anyone like to read? Purport? It's conscious of time, so you make a choice, or I will start reading. Okay. In the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that this great literature is meant for the Paramahamsas. Paramo Nirmatharanam Satam. Srimad Bhagavatam is meant for persons completely free from malice. Nirmatsara means who is free from malice or envy. In the conditioned life, the malicious life begins from the top, namely bearing malice against the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Personality of Godhead is an established fact in all the revealed scriptures and in the Bhagavad Gita. The personal feature of the Supreme Lord is especially mentioned, so much so that the last portion of the great literature has emphatically stressed that one should surrender unto the Personality of Godhead to be saved from misery of life. Bhagavad Gita is clearly saying that, simple words. Which verse is this? Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarvapapebhyo mokshayasami ma shuchi. Unfortunately, persons with impious background do not believe in the Personality of Godhead, and everyone wants to become God himself without any qualification. This malicious nature in the conditioned soul continues even up to the stage when a person wants to be one with the Lord. And thus, even the greatest of the empiric philosophers speculating on becoming one with the Supreme Lord cannot become a Paramahamsa because the malicious mind is there. The envy towards the Lord is there up to the top. Therefore, the Paramahamsa stage of life can be attained only by those who are fixed in the practice of Bhakti Yoga. The Bhakti Yoga begins if a person has the firm conviction that simply discharging devotional service to the Lord in full transcendental love can elevate him to the highest perfectional stage of life. Brahmaji believed in this art of Bhakti Yoga. He believed in the instruction of the Lord to execute tapa, and he discharged the function with great penance and thus achieved the great success of seeing the Vaikuntha Lok and the Lord also by personal experience. No one can reach the abode of the Supreme Lord by any mechanical means of the mind or machine, but one can reach the abode of the Vaikuntha Lokas simply by following the process of Bhakti Yoga, because the Lord can be realized only through the Bhakti Yoga process. Lord Brahmaji was actually sitting on his lotus seat, and from there By executing the process of Bhakti Yoga in great seriousness, he could see the Vaikuntha Loka with all the variegatedness as well as the Lord in person and his associates. Following the footsteps of Lord Brahma, any person, even up to this day, can attain the same. This is very interesting. Please, yes. So any person, even up to this day, like all of us, can attain the same perfection by following the path of the Paramahamsa as recommended herein. The Lord Chaitanya also approved of this method of self-realization for men in this stage. What is that? One should first, with all conviction, believe in the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, and without making effort, realize him by speculative philosophy. One should prefer to hear about him from the Srimad Bhagavad Gita and later from the text of Srimad Bhagavatam. So we go step by step. Go to Bhagavad Gita and then we go Bhagavatam. One should hear such discourses from a person, Bhagavatam, and not from the professional man or from the karmi, jnani or yogi. That is the secret of learning the science. So as we are reading the purport of Srila Prabhupada, obviously we are hearing from the person Bhagavatam, from Srila Prabhupada himself. He's explaining all these things to us. That is the secret of learning the science. One does not need to be in the renounced order of life. I don't think any one of us are in the renounced order of life here. So we also become qualified. They say, well, he can remain in his present condition of life, he or she. But he must search out the association of a bona fide devotee of the Lord and hear from him the transcendental message of the Lord with faith and conviction. That is the path of Paramahamsa recommended herein. Amongst various holy names of the Lord, he is called Ajita, or one who can never be conquered by anyone else. Yet, he can be conquered by the Paramahamsa path as practically realized and shown by the great spiritual master Lord Brahma. In the previous also towards the end, we read the same thing. He can be conquered by his devotees. Lord Brahma has personally recommended this Paramahamsa Pantha in his own words as follows. The verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, very famous. Gyane prayasam vadapasya namanta eva jivanti sanmukharitam bhavadiya vartam sthane sita sudigatam. Hear this so many times. Sthane sita, whatever situation you are in. Shudigatam, hearing. Tanuvan manobhir, body with what? The body, one is vak, words and mind. All these things. Ye prayaso jita ajita jitopi asi tais trilokya. Lord Brahma said, O my Lord Krishna, a devotee who abandons the path of the empiric philosophical speculation, aimed at merging in the existence of the Supreme, and engages himself in the hearing of glories and activities from a bona fide sadhu or saint, and who lives an honest life in the occupational engagement of his social life, can conquer your sympathy and mercy, even though you are Ajita or unconquerable. That is the path of the Paramahamsas, which was personally followed by Lord Brahma and later recommended by him for attaining perfect success in life. We don't have time to discuss this, so that's very nice. I'll read the next verse. Translation verse number 19. And seeing Brahma present before him, this is the famous verse where the Lord will shake hand with him, Lord Brahma. So, and seeing Brahma present before him, the Lord accepted him as worthy to create living beings, to be controlled as he desired. And thus being much satisfied with him, the Lord shook hands with Brahma and slightly smiling addressed him thus. There's a handshake happening there. Purport. The creation of the material world is not blind or accidental. Living entities who are ever conditioned or nitya-baddha are thus given a chance for liberation under the guidance of his own representative like Brahma. The Lord instructs Brahma in Vedic knowledge in order to diffuse this knowledge to the conditioned souls. So the reason Lord is giving the knowledge to Lord Brahma is so that he can then transfer this knowledge to other conditioned souls. The conditioned souls are forgetful souls in their relationship with the Lord, and thus a period of creation and the process of dissemination of Vedic knowledge are necessary activities of the Lord. So what is the whole of the period of creation is necessary in process of dissemination of knowledge. The whole of purpose of this creation is so that knowledge can be disseminated. Lord Brahma has a great responsibility in delivering the conditioned souls, and therefore is very dear to the Lord. So anyone who takes the responsibility of delivering the conditioned souls or delivering themselves, they are very dear to the Lord. Brahma also does his duty very perfectly, not only by generating the living entities, but also by spreading his party for reclaiming the fallen souls. The party is called the Brahma Sampradaya. There are various political parties, various elections taking place all over the world. One party comes, other party goes, but people are frustrated with all the parties. None of those parties have any interest in reclaiming or any delivering the fallen souls, which are all of us, because they have no understanding. The party is called, this party that we are, following, we are voting for, is called the Brahma. And any member of this party to date is naturally engaged in reclaiming the fallen souls back to Godhead, back home. The Lord is very much anxious to get back his parts and parcels, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita. No one is more dear than the one who takes the risk of reclaiming the fallen souls back to Godhead. There are many renegades from the Brahma Sampradaya whose only business is to make men more forgetful of the Lord and entangle them more and more in material existence. Such persons are never dear to the Lord. And the Lord sends them deeper into the darkest region of matter, so that such envious demons may not be able to know the Supreme Lord. This is the Bhagavad Gita verse, chapter 16. Anyone, however, preaching the mission of the Lord in the line of the Brahma Sampradaya is always dear to the Lord, and the Lord, being satisfied with such a preacher of the authorized Bhakti cult, shakes hands with him in great satisfaction. This is the guarantee that Srila Prabhupada is giving us on behalf of the Lord. So we can also take this advantage and we can get an opportunity to shake hands with the Lord. There cannot be any better opportunity than this, to be known and to be loved by the most powerful and most beautiful, most knowledgeable. Yeah. All the six opulences that we're hearing. This 38. Quickly, any comment, any question for 2 minutes, then we can have the bhajan sandhya. Very good. All right, so I'll share once again, and we can read the bhajan. Okay. Yeah, we are sharing.
Hare Krishna, Shyam, Hare Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
So thank you very much for the very nice class, Prabhuji. It was really, really amazing. So tonight we have Durgam Prabhuji, who will be singing a very nice bhajan entitled Sudha Bhakta Charana Renu. But before Prabhuji sings the bhajan, I'd like to invite Orpita, dear Orpita, to read the English translation. Orpita, are you there?
Yes, Mataji.
Please go ahead. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Translation. The dust of the lotus feet of pure devotees, enthusiastic devotional service, and service to the pure devotees of the highest order are the roots of the creeper of devotion. The holy days like Ekadasi and Janmashtami are the mother of devotion for those devotees who respect them. Let the holy places of Krishna's pastimes be my places of worship and bless me. May I always visit the holy places associated with the Leela of Lord Chaitanya and his devotees. When I hear the sound of the mridanga in my heart, I always desire to join in Kirtana. And when I hear the bona fide songs describing Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, my heart dances in ecstasy. Whenever I see the transcendental Sri Vigrahas of Radha Krishna, I am in bliss. For by taking their lordships prasad, we can conquer over the material elements. One day, while performing devotional practices, I saw my house transformed into Golaka Vrindavan. When I take the charan mantra of the deity, I see the holy Ganges waters that come from the feet of Lord Vishnu, and my bliss knows no bounds. By seeing the Tulasi tree, my heart feels joy, and Lord Madhava, Krishna, is also satisfied. When I eat the prasad favored by Lord Chaitanya, it is a new life's experience. Lord Chaitanya was very fond of a green vegetable preparation called sak, and there is another song in this book that tells the amazing effects of this type of prasad. Bhaktivinoda concludes by saying, Whosoever attains the stage of enthusiasm for these devotional practices will be supremely blissful wherever he may be. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Beautiful recitation, Arpita. Thank you very much. Durgam Prabhu, are you ready to sing the bhajan, please? We can't hear you, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Krishna.
So
When
shall
you're
I start?
ready, yes, when you're ready, please go ahead. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Shuddha Bhagata Charan Renu Bhajana Anukula Shuddha Bhagata Charan Renu Bhajana Anukula भगत सेवा परम सिद्धि प्रेम लतिकार मूला भक्त सेवा परम सिद्धि प्रेम लतिकार मूला माधव तिथि भक्ति जननी यतने पालन कौरी कृष्ण बसती बसती बोली परम आदरे बारी शुद्ध भगत चरण रेणु भजन अनुकूल गौर अमार जे सब स्थाने करल भ्रमण रंगे गौर अमार जे सब स्थाने करल भ्रमण रंगे से सब स्थानो हेरिबो आमी प्रणयी भक्त संगे से सब स्थानो हेरिबो आमी प्रणयी भक्त संगे शुद्ध भगत चरण रेणु भजन अनुकूल मृदंग वाद्य सुनीते मान अवसर सदा याचे मृदंग वाद्य सुनीते मान अवसर सदा याचे गौर विहित कीर्तन सुनी आनंद हृदय नाचे। गौर विहित कीर्तन सुनी आनंद हृदय नाचे। शुद्ध भक्त चरण रेणु भजन अनुकूल। जुगल मूर्ति देखिए मोरा परम आनंद है ये। जुगल मूर्ति देखिए मोरा परम आनंद है ये। प्रसाद सेवा करिते है सकल प्रपंच जाए। प्रसाद सेवा करिते है सकल प्रपंच जाए। शुद्ध भक्त चरण रेणु भजन अनुकूला। जे दिन ग्रहे भजन देखी ग्रह ते गोलोक भाई। जे दिन ग्रहे भजन देखी ग्रह ते गोलोक भाई। चरण सिधु देखिए गंगा सुख न सीमा पाए। चरण सिधु देखिए गंगा सुख न सीमा पाए। शुद्ध भक्त चरण रेणु भजन अनुकूल। तुलसी देखी जुड़य प्राण माधव तोषणी जानी। तुलसी देखी जुड़य प्राण माधव तोषणी जानी। गौर प्रिया शाक सेवन जीवन सार्थक मानी। गौर प्रिया शाक सेवन जीवन सार्थक मानी। शुद्ध भगत चरण रेणु भजन अनुकूला। भक्ति विनोदा कृष्ण भजने अनुकूल पाए जाहा। भक्ति विनोद कृष्ण भजने अनुकूल पाए जाहा। प्रति दिवसे परम सुखे स्वीकार करो ये ताहा। प्रति दिवसे परम सुखे स्वीकार कर ये ताहा। शुद्ध भगत चरण रेणु भजन अनुकूला। भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय।
Jai. Hari Bol.
Prabhuji,
Prabhuji.
jai.
Beautiful bhajan sung so well. Hari Bol. Thank you very much. Durgam Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Please
Thank
request
you.
next time, please switch on your video also, Prabhu. We can see who's singing. So,
Yes, Prabhu, sure.
thank you so much.
Thank
Okay, so this is 10 to 9. So, any other comments, questions, complaints? Thank you so much. You always have a wonderful Krishna conscious week ahead. Panchakalpataruvescha kripa
Sindhubhyo patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna, Prabhu. Very nice. Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
thank you for the wonderful class. Hare
Thank you for the
Krishna. Everyone, Hare Krishna.